So we've already been learning about atoms and how atoms make up molecules. So what you see in the white box should be a review for you. Every substance around you is made of atoms, and atoms link together to form molecules. The links between these atoms in a molecule are called chemical bonds. Different types of molecules are made up of different elements. So remember that atoms make up molecules, and molecules form together to make substances. So today we are going to talk more about how to count atoms in molecules. So this is our focus for today, looking at how to model molecules and then how to count the atoms in the molecules. So to model molecules, scientists use what's called a ball and stick model. So basically what this means is that the ball or sphere represents each atom. So this represents a chlorine atom in this case. The peach colored one represents a boron atom. And then the line that you see, as you can probably guess, represents the chemical bond. So this is called just a simple molecule because you only have a few atoms bonded together to form it. So this entire thing, remember, is the molecule. And then from there, we're going to learn how to count how many atoms are in the molecule. So before we learn about counting molecules and atoms in the molecules, we need to talk more about the abbreviations for elements. So when we learned about the periodic table, you probably noticed that there's a bunch of letters on the periodic table. And those letters are called the atomic symbols of the elements. So every element is represented by its own symbol. So for some, you'll see a capital letter, and then for others, you'll see a capital letter and one lowercase letter. So for example, the symbol for boron is capital B, and then the symbol for chlorine is Cl, lowercase cl. So here's some other ones, like hydrogen would be capital H, whereas gold is kind of a weird one, but gold is AU. So if you see a capital letter followed by a lowercase letter, that's one element, even though it has a lowercase letter. So like Cl, that's one atom of the element chlorine. So let's look at this ball and stick model of this molecule and count how many atoms of C stands for carbon, H stands for hydrogen we have. So in the picture, in the molecule model, you can tell that there are 1, 2, 3 carbons. So we've got 3 of these. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hydrogens. So in this, we would write it as C, little 3 to show that there are 3, H for hydrogen, and then a little 6 to show that there are 6. This is called a chemical formula, and it tells you how many of each atom are in that molecule. Let's try one more. So here we can see that we have the elements carbon, hydrogen, and chlorine. So how many carbons do we have? 1. How many hydrogens do we have? 1, 2, 3. How many chlorines do we have? 1. So we would write this as CH3, because we have 3 hydrogens, Cl. Now let's practice going the opposite direction where you're given the chemical formula and you have to tell how many atoms are in each. So in this first one, H2O, we have the little 2 is telling us that we have 2 hydrogens and we have 1 oxygen. Now, oxygen is not, or there's not a little 1 right here because it's already, the letter is there, so you don't have to write the number 1. Let's look at this one. We have CaCO3. So remember, if you have a capital letter and a lowercase letter, that's one element. So in this case, that is calcium. So we have 1 calcium, and then we have 1 carbon because there is no number after it. And then how many oxygens do we have? 3, because it's telling you that with that little tiny 3. Let's look at this one. We have CH3Br. So C, that's 1 element of carbon, or 1 atom of carbon. So 1 carbon. Then we have a little 3 after our H, so we have 3 hydrogen. Then we have, whoa, that's terrible. Sorry. Then we have a capital B followed by a lowercase r, which means that's 1 element of Br, bromine. Okay, so in this one you have little numbers following every letter. So you have 6 carbons, you have 12 hydrogens, and you have 6 oxygen. So those tell you how many atoms of those elements are in each molecule.